All right, today we're going to talk about fixing a bulkhead in a poly tank. I have a tank here that I've used throughout the years, and I'm repurposing it for a downstreaming tank. So I really want to get rid of the bulkhead. I had soap in there before. I'm going to start carrying bleach in it. So I do not like bottom bulkheads whenever bleach is used, because face it, they will eventually end up leaking, and usually in my experience they leak at the worst possible time. I'm going to cut a new bulkhead at the top of this tank, so I'll use that circle that I remove as my patch material to put over this old hole. So I have gone in and selected a drill size, a hole saw size that's just a little bit bigger than the existing bulkhead hole that I'm going to cover up. So I'm going to clean that up and save these little shards that come out. They'll be useful here towards the end, and I'll show you what I mean as we get deeper into the video. Now once I get this hole cut out, I'm going to gently remove it out of the hole saw. Check my size on that. See, it's just a little tiny bit larger than the hole that I'm covering up on there. So this is the hole we'll wind up patching. Let's say you're not installing a new bulkhead up top, or you're not going to be drilling into it, so you won't have that spare material. A lot of times you can reach right inside the lip on one of these tanks and cut out some of that excess material there, and get yourself material to make the patch. Or if you have any old 55-gallon drums laying around, you can use that material as well for the patching. Now the secret to this is heat. A good heat gun and a propane torch will really make your this project work out well. I'm not sure about the fumes that this is kicking off. It might be a very good idea to use a respirator and other personal protective equipment you should use, probably a set of gloves and also eye protection. We want to start getting this warmed up with the heat gun, so you'll see us really just leaving the heat gun down there and holding it on there. This process could take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Here I am, just kind of got the heat gun balanced on there. I just laid it down there for a while to let that get nice and soft. Whenever this material starts getting good and soft, you'll actually see it starting to get clear. Now this circle has sat in here. We've got it soft, and we're able to work it in there with a putty knife to really get the excess from the patch to stick over there to the existing tank. Now as I'm working it in here with the putty knife, understand I don't have a great bond on this. This is really just kind of sitting on the top and holding itself into place. Now I'm going to bring in my propane torch and really get a good melt on this plastic. What I want to do is just get this nice and melty, so it's almost like you're plastic welding here. So I'm going to take each of those edges and they'll melt together to make a firm complete seal on there. So I'm going to work it in a little bit more with the putty knife. Just keep working this in until the circle that you see, the patch that you see, really starts to disappear for the most part. Now also on here, be real careful with the propane torch. This is going to be a lot more aggressive than the heat gun. You can set this on fire real easily and really just cause so much damage that you won't be able to do a repair. So it takes be on point whenever you're doing this. Don't be screwing around. Moderate heat, pull it back, do it in short bursts, and work it in. Remember how I said keep the little squigglies and the leftover stuff? Well, now we can melt this into the top of this patch to add in a little extra strength on here. No sense in letting that go to waste, because we are spreading out the existing plug that we're putting in there. So this will help to put a little more strength and a little more material on there that we can melt in. So at this point, I've got the front side of it all nice and melted in. Down low, you can hardly see the circle anymore. Now to polish up this area, we can go and take some sandpaper. Start with a high grit sandpaper, or even move to a milder sandpaper, and just scrub it down some. This will actually help you whenever it comes time to leak test. You might see where the seam is or where you're getting leaks at. So we've really scrubbed that down a great deal, and in case any leaks develop. But now what I want to do, I've got a real solid thing here. Feels like a good bond. But now I want to go inside of the tank, and you can see I've got it kind of gooped up, but I still see a big circle on there. I don't have a seam on the back side of this tank. So just as I did on the front, I'm going to melt it a little bit to bond or blend these two plastics. Use my putty knife to kind of move them around and move them in together. So here we are, and it's done. Now I could take some sandpaper and clean this up a little bit more, or even maybe a grinder. You can see I've got fluid in there. I've got no drips coming out of here. I'm shaking around to put some pressure on it, putting my camera up underneath it to make sure I don't have any drips coming out of there. But at this point, this tank is repaired. I've got a solid seal around there, where before I had a 1-inch hole for a bulkhead. So we can repurpose this. I'll now go and put a bulkhead on the top to use it as a top draw for a chlorine tank for downstreaming. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Hope this was helpful. Please feel free to follow us on YouTube, and remember, join us at spraywashpro.com for some of the best information and education you'll get in the pressure washing industry. Wash on, everybody.